Homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Thereupon the Lord, in order to gladden the four assemblies, and to further lighten up this perfection of wisdom, preached at that time the following verses. Chapter 1, Preliminary Admonition. Call forth as much as you can of love, of respect, and faith. Remove the obstructing defilements and clear away all your taints. Listen to the perfect wisdom of the gentle Buddhas, taught for the weal of the world, for heroic spirits intended. The source of Subhuti's authority. The rivers all in this rose-apple island, which cause the flowers to grow, the fruits, the herbs and trees, they all derive from the might of the king of Nagas, from the dragon residing in Lake Anopatapta, his magical power. Just so, whatever dharmas the Jina's disciples establish, whatever they teach, whatever adroitly explain, concerning the work of the holy, which leads to the fullness of bliss, and also the fruit of his work, it is the Tathagata's doing. For whatever the Jina has taught, the guide to the Dharma, his pupils, if genuine, have well been trained in it. From direct experience, derived from their training, they teach it. Their teaching stems but from the might of the Buddhas, and not their own power. The basic teachings. No wisdom can we get hold of, no highest perfection, no bodhisattva, no thought of enlightenment either. When told of this, if not bewildered and in no way anxious, a bodhisattva courses in the well-gone's wisdom. In form, in feeling, will, perception, and awareness, nowhere in them they find a place to rest on. Without a home, they wander. Dharmas never hold them, nor do they grasp at them. The Jina's bodhi they are bound to gain. The wanderer Shranika, in his gnosis of truth, could find no basis, though the skandhas had not been undone. Just so the bodhisattva, when he comprehends the dharmas as he should, does not retire into blessed rest. In wisdom, then, he dwells. What is this wisdom? Whose and whence? He queries. And then he finds that all these dharmas are entirely empty. Uncowed and fearless in the face of that discovery, not far from Bodhi, is that Bodhi being then. To course in the skandhas, in form, in feeling, in perception, will, and so on, and fail to consider them wisely, or to imagine these skandhas as being empty, means to course in the sign, the track of non-production ignored. But when he does not course in form, in feeling or perception, in will or consciousness, but wanders without home, remaining unaware of coursing firm in wisdom, his thoughts of non-production, then the best of all the calming trances cleaves to him. Through that, the Bodhisattva now dwells tranquil in himself, his future Buddhahood assured by antecedent Buddhas. Whether absorbed in trance or whether outside it, he minds not, for of things as they are, he knows the essential original nature. Coursing thus, he courses in the wisdom of the Sugatas, and yet he does not apprehend the dharmas in which he courses. This coursing he wisely knows as a no-coursing. That is his practice of wisdom, the highest perfection. What exists not, that non-existent, the foolish imagine. Non-existence, as well as existence, they fashion as dharmic facts. Existence and non-existence are both not real. A bodhisattva goes forth when wisely he knows this. If he knows the five skandhas as like an illusion, but makes not illusion one thing and the skandhas another, if freed from the notion of multiple things, he courses in peace, then that is his practice of wisdom, the highest perfection. Those with good teachers as well as deep insight cannot be frightened on hearing the Mother's deep tenets. But those with bad teachers who can be misled by others are ruined thereby, as an unbaked pot when in contact with moisture. 3 key terms defined. What is the reason why we speak of Bodhisattvas? Desire is to extinguish all attachment and to cut it off. True non-attachment, or the Bodhi of the Jinas, is their future lot. Quote, beings who strive for Bodhi, close quote, are they therefore called? What is the reason why, quote, great beings are so called? They rise to the highest place above a great number of people, and of a great number of people they cut off mistaken views. That is why we come to speak of them as great beings. Great as a giver, as a thinker, as a power, he mounts upon the vessel of the supreme Jinas. Armed with the great armor, he'll subdue Mara, the artful. These are the reasons why great beings are so called. This gnosis shows him all beings as like an illusion, resembling a great crowd of people conjured up at the crossroads by a magician who then cuts off many thousands of heads. He knows this whole living world as a mock show, and yet remains without fear. Form, perception, feeling, will, and awareness are ununited, never bound, cannot be freed. Uncowed in his thought, he marches on to his Bodhi. That for the highest of men is the best of all armors. What then again is, quote, the vessel that leads to the Bodhi? Mounted upon it, one guides to nirvana all beings. Great is that vessel, immense, vast, like the vastness of space. Those who travel upon it are carried to safety, delight, and ease. The transcendental nature of Bodhisattvas. Thus, transcending the world, he eludes our apprehensions. Quote, he goes to nirvana, but no one can say where he went to. A fire is extinguished, but where, do we ask, has it gone to? Likewise, how can we find him who has found the rest of the blessed? The Bodhisattva's past, his future, and his present must elude us. Time's 3 dimensions nowhere touch him. Quite pure is he, free from conditions, unimpeded. That is his practice of wisdom, the highest perfection. Wise bodhisattvas, coursing thus, reflect on non-production, and yet, while doing so, engender in themselves the great compassion, which is, however, free from any notion of a being. Thereby they practice wisdom, the highest perfection. But when the notion of suffering and beings leads him to think, quote, suffering I shall remove, the wheel of the world I shall work, close quote, beings are then imagined, a self is imagined. The practice of wisdom, the highest perfection, is lacking. He wisely knows that all that lives is unproduced, as he himself is. He knows that all that is no more exists than he or any beings. The unproduced and the produced are not distinguished. That is the practice of wisdom, the highest perfection. All words for things in use in this world must be left behind. All things produced and made must be transcended. The deathless, the supreme, incomparable gnosis is then one. That is the sense in which we speak of perfect wisdom. When free from doubts, the bodhisattva carries on his practice. As skilled in wisdom, he is known to dwell. All dharmas are not really there. Their essential original nature is empty. To comprehend that is the practice of wisdom, perfection supreme.